now, what is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and this is my 31 days of horror movie reviews. And I am here to talk about a film that I wanted to watch when it came out. I wanted to go to the theaters. I remember having plans to go, and then something came up, and I never quite was able to get back to it, which sucks. It pains me that I possibly helped cause the reason why this movie wasn't more successful. I'm talking about Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep was a 2019 horror film that is indeed the sequel to the 1980 film The Shining. This was directed by Mike Flanagan. And the plot. The plot is we meet young Danny Torrance, this poor kid who went through all of the events that he went through from his father, Jack, and the hotel and whatnot. You see that he grows up to be Ewan McGregor, who at first has some serious drinking issues and emotional issues and is going down a hard path until he tries to maybe get his life back together. And then he comes into contact with this little girl who has the shine like he did as well. And there's also some really bad people, some effed up people who want to steal your shine, take your shine, and feed off of your shine. So Ewan McGregor has to stop them and save this little girl. What I thought of Dr. Sleep was, I really enjoyed this film. I did. And I guess that's why I felt the need to talk about being upset that I couldn't support this movie the way that I should have, whether it was just paying to go see it or talking about it, promoting it more when it came out, because this movie did not do well in the box office. It might be a combination of, it's a crapshoot, right? Horror movies, you never know, and depending on how much the budget is, they spent a decent amount of money for this one. But also, it's a sequel to The Shining, but yet there's no real easy way to tell it's a sequel unless you're like me, who gives a crap and will actually find this stuff out and seek it out. Dr. Sleep, as a title, yeah, sure, it sounds cool and creepy to an extent, but it doesn't scream The Shining sequel, The Shining Part 2. I don't know, it's unfortunate because I think as a film, as the story goes, like, I love the beginning where you get some continuation. Wasn't expecting this. You get some stuff of young Danny, who, yeah, sure, obviously, it's different actors. It's not the same kid from the first one, obviously. It's 40 years ago at this point. It's not Shelley Duvall. Like, you can't do that. But seeing them pick up from where they left off with the hotel, with that tragic event, seeing how they dealt with it. You got only a little bit of it, but it was still something that I didn't really know I wanted until I saw it and got to see what happened. Ewan McGregor as the older Danny Torrance was very good as well. I mean, it's Ewan McGregor, so it's not like he's going to be bad or anything like that, but I still thought what he brought as far as being this down-out guy who just is in rough shape, but then to see him overcome that really made you not only relate to the character and sympathize with the character, but want to see him succeed, not just with his sobriety, but then with saving this little girl. The way how he's able to communicate with this little girl. Abra Stone is played by Kylie Curran, and I very much liked her for a young girl who, I don't know, 13 or so, however old she is. She was really good in her relationship with Danny, just being able to psychically communicate the way that they did was cool, but not just that. Danny having that relatability to her. He knows what it's like to be that young or younger with disability, not knowing what it is, not knowing how to use it, and seeing him, older him, have to be that mentor for her. I appreciate it. I liked Rebecca Ferguson as Rose the Hat. Rebecca Ferguson, I love as an actress. Anytime that she pops up in a movie, I like her. She's likable. She's really good. This is the first film where I hated her. I fucking hated her. And I think if she just played the villain as your typical villain, I might not hate her. I would just say, oh, well, she did a good job playing evil. But they have her do And she's able and willing to do some of the most horrific things that I have seen in horror movies, between killing kids and just doing some sick, dark stuff that I wanted her to die in the most brutal and violent way possible. Some of the other actors, Cliff Curtis is in this movie. I wish that they used him a little bit better and more, but for what he had to do, he was fine. Emily Aylan Lynn, she plays Snakebite. I want to bring her up because I just recently saw her in The Babysitter Killer. Maybe they also could have done a little bit more with her, just as far as an arc, or why she was so willing to join Rebecca Ferguson's group. Maybe there could have been more to that, but I said maybe there could have been more to that. This movie, as it is already 2.5 hours long. I can't really complain with things that they didn't do, because they did do a lot. Also, though, I never found myself bored. I never found myself sitting there going, oh, it's only been an hour and a half. We have another hour to go. I was pretty enthralled. I was interested. I was creeped out for a lot of this movie, and I was also impressed with the direction, the creativity, how Mike Flanagan used some of the dreamlike scenes that showed some of these shine abilities and what exactly they could do. It's almost like a horror version of the X-Men, but like next level shit. And I'm not sure if they were planning on doing more with this mythology, any sequels. I'm sure not now, since the box office didn't reflect that, but I still really enjoyed what they did. They didn't do a carbon copy, a ripoff of The Shining, which is almost what I could have expected from a sequel. You could have just tried to redo the same thing or try to tell a similar story with a different family. Thank God that they built off of the lore. They built off of the mythology. I loved it. I did. I loved what they did with the story. I loved what they did with Danny. I loved what they did with this girl. And I don't know. I appreciated this movie that we got. Again, it sucks that the good horror movies don't get the attention, don't get as much money as they should. I've shitted so much on bad horror films that, man, yeah, this movie deserves to be seen a lot more if you haven't already seen Dr. Sleep. I also want to mention really quick before I go, the ending of this movie, the third act at least, when they go back to the Overlook Hotel, that was amazing. It was, like, I just got done saying how I appreciated that they did a different story, they did their own thing, and they took everything in the directions that they did. But I also love that they gave us that brief, nostalgic, here's the hotel, here's all these things and these bits that you remember, these characters and whatnot. Just good stuff. I obviously really enjoyed Dr. Sleep. Let me know in the comments below if you too have seen the film. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you not see it? Maybe you didn't think it'd be good. Tell me why. Tell me what you think now. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!
Souls taken over by a devilish path. You got me walking on broken glass. Kicking down the door with a Jason mask, with a deck dome machete, but you motherfuckers know it's heavy. Anytime you're ready, you can get you with a Bowie. Setting up to blow me, but the bitch don't know me. Who's going? I'm going. You know, I know that the man in the mirror is my next rival. Time goes and I never thought I'd live it so fast. Staring at the world from the end of my glass. Turned into a dark place, severed my brain. I done dropped out of class, but